The name, once I mention it, actually represents a political party tradition in this country, and many of you will recognize it immediately it is cited. As a matter of fact, her father did not exactly believe in educating the girl child, so she probably was born not expecting to go to school, but she did, and actually rose to very commendable levels and held high positions even at the tertiary institution in this country, a leading university. And we'll find out how that happened. And she'll also tell us a bit about her brother. But she lives, drinks, sleeps politics, she tells me. And we'll ask her what it is that drives her, makes her love politics so much. People say it's a man's world. She's a woman, and she's managed to be in there for all these years. What motivates her? We'll find out all of that. She also has served in this country at the level of the Council of State, and that's a very high accolade. Not many get to rise to that kind of recognition in their country, and she has done that. She's still in the hunt to make sure that her party comes back to power very soon. Madam Ama Busiah is my guest tonight. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
I noticed when your driver drove you down here, I was monitoring from afar, that you had two flags in your vehicle. The flag of Ghana and the flag of the New Patriotic Party, side by side. Is there a reason for that?
Very much so. First of all, I'm a Ghanaian. And Ghana, we have multi-party system.
Right.
And I want to show the whole world where I belong to. And I belong to New Patriotic Party. That's why I'm flying both.
Great. Really, is the New Patriotic Party, is it because of your brother, Professor K. Busiah, or you have some other conviction, reason why you love it so much as to display its flag next to the Ghanaian flag?
I really believe in ideas and ideals of the party.
Right.
Maybe my brother had a very influence on me.
Okay.
But since I grew up, I've weighed all sides and I believe in what this party stands for. So apart from my brother's being founding member, whatever, I strongly believe in the ideals and ideas of the New Patriotic Party.
Great. Let's go back to your growing up days. I don't know how many years ago you were born.
Many. I've already scored the 3 score and 10 that the Almighty gave us.
So you've gone past 70.
Yes, I've gone past 70.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And how do you remember the first 10 years of it?
The first 10 years of it, I wouldn't say it was something that I would want to go back to. My father died when I was 6.
Ooh.
So I wouldn't even say I really know my father. And my mother died when I was 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I see. So those were not very happy moments.
No, not at all.
How many? Okay, yes.
You know, we have this extended family system. So they were very helpful, but it's not the same. It's not the same that having your own mother and your father around, but they were very helpful.
Great.
And it wasn't as bad as that, but it could have been better.
So where were you born? And when
in Wenchi.
Wenchi. Brongahafu region. That's where you're born, that's where you grew up. And how many brothers and sisters do you have?
Oh, my mother had 13 children.
Wow.
Football team with 2 reserves.
With 2 reserves. And you were number what?
Number 12. I'm a dozen.
Number 12. I see. So there was only one person behind you.
Yes.
And Professor Busiah was number what?
He was number 1.
Oh, he was number 1?
Yes.
I see. So that was quite a wide gulf.
And that's why he became my father and everything when my parents died.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But what about what we hear that your father did not believe that the girl needed to go to school?
No. I didn't see much of him. I started class 1 before he died, because that time you go to school at the age of 5. In fact, they put your hand around it.
I'm told.
Exactly.
And if your hand doesn't cross
your ear, then it means you are not old enough to go to school. Fortunately, I was.
All right.
My father died a year after, but my 2 older sisters, they went to Mofretro.
Okay.
What happened was when the 7th Kumasi Mofretro.
Okay.
The 7th child of my my mother was the first daughter.
Oh, okay.
And when she grew up and my brother wanted to send her to school, my father strongly objected to it. His objection was that, one, I don't know where he had notion from, that when women go to school, they don't deliver, they don't bring forth children. I don't know how he got that notion from and where. And since I believe, you know, that we come from a royal family,
sure,
so we have to extend the family from the feminine, the female in our family.
Okay.
To extend the royal line, you know. So
because you are matrilineal.
Matrilineal.
That's right.
Exactly. So he wasn't interested for any of us to go to school, for the simple reason that we may not have children. So and my brother, you know, he had seen the light, though. So he insisted that his sisters, his siblings, should be educated.
Okay.
So what he did was, my father asked for a sheep. So each time he sends one of us to school, he has to pacify my father with a sheep.
Wow. I see.
So my father got 3 sheep before, 3 girls. We had only 3 daughters.
3 daughters.
Out of the 13.
I see. Wow, that's interesting. So that's how come you went to school?
Yes.
So where did you go to school?
Wenchi Methodist School.
Oh, Wenchi Methodist School.
And ended it up at Kumasi Methodist Girls School.
Okay, so that was for secondary education or
no,
middle school?
No, this primary school.
Primary school.
Middle school. Yeah.
Oh, middle school. I see. Yeah. Okay, so after that, I'm sure you left and pursued further studies.
Yes, I went to Commander. And immediately I came out from Commander Training College. I didn't even serve my bond. That was the Nkrumah Busiah days, struggling days of Busiah and Nkrumah.
Okay.
And my brother was forced into exile, and he needed my services over there. So I joined him in Holland.
In Holland. Okay. Okay. So he had some interaction in Leiden University near the Hague.
Yes. Yes, I was with him.
You were with him.
Yes,
okay.
I was with him.
Okay. All right. So that was it.
Yeah.
I see. So you left and joined him there.
Joined him there.
Did you come back to pursue further studies at any point?
No, I did. When we were in Holland. We were in 1959, and 1961 he had to go to Mexico to lecture there.
Okay.
And I proceeded to England to do my O-level there, and then after that do the institutional management.
Okay.
And catering.
I see. I see. So that's what happened on the educational front for you. But we'll talk about your brother quite a bit, because again, as many of us believe, you are probably the best person next to him to tell us about him, and since he's not around, we'll get it from you. But we want to concentrate as much on you as we can. So at what stage did you begin working life?
When I returned from England in 1966, I joined the University of Ghana.
All right.
I had my interview and everything in Britain. Yes, so I had my appointment letter before I came down, and I joined the staff January in 1966.
Oh, wow.
As a domestic bursar.
Right. And so you did that for how many years?
25 years.
Wow, my goodness. 25 years from 1966. Wow, 20 will be 86. So was that 91 thereabout?
Yes.
1991 from 1966.
Even more, because 1992, when I went to the ban on politics was lifted.
Yes.
Yeah, I stood for election when Wenchi West constituency.
Okay.
All that time I was on university staff. Oh. It was after 92 that, I decided to say goodbye to University of Ghana.
Oh, wow. I think that we owe you a lot, and thanks for that. When did you feel in you that politics was a part of your whole function?
I think, as I told you, I was more or less a daughter to Dr. Busiah, not a sister as such, because our parents died early and he happened to be the firstborn.
Okay.
I was more or less attached to his apron strings. I should let him put it that way.
That's right.
So at the age of 9, when he was inaugurating Ghana Congress Party, I remember very well that I was carrying his flask going
that must have been
1952
thereabout. 52.
No, not 52. As earlier, no,
earlier than that.
Yes.
Ghana Congress GCP.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was in the early 50s or somewhere.
I was carrying his flask behind him.
I see.
and all that time, and also his days in exile. Though he was teaching, he was still doing politics in exile. And I think that generated the interest in me. Maybe it was there, but it rekindled it. It kindled it, and.
So you saw him prepare for political life.
Oh yes.
And you
going late nights, serving his guests, and all sorts of things, you know. So it generated something in me. Yeah.
And what did you want to do in politics per se?
I was just, you know, there are many ways of helping ourselves.
Right.
And I felt if through politics I can help my country, I can help my neighbor. So, and there is this saying that if the wise sits back, then, excuse me for my language, you get fools ruling you.
Absolutely.
So
Judge Bernard Shaw.
So I decided to be interested, and if that is my quota that I can contribute to make my next door neighbor happy, to make my people in my country happy, then why shouldn't I?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Great. So what are some of the political positions that you contested for, and which ones did you win? I was the 3rd national vice chairperson of NPP. Right.
That one I went unopposed.
Okay.
3 years after, I contested and I won for the 1st national vice chairperson of the party.
All right.
It was during our tenure of office that New Patriotic Party won the election.
Okay. I see. Great. And that's when President Kufuor became president.
Exactly.
I see. So you worked hard for it.
We did. We did. It wasn't easy. We did.
You have a family of your own.
Yes.
What is the shape of it?
2 boys.
2 boys. Strong.
Very.
What do they do?
One is a lawyer.
Okay.
And one is computer scientist.
And what do they practice?
The lawyer is in town. He was a consular general when NPP was in power.
Okay.
But he came home. He was in Washington for a long time.
Oh, I see.
And then when he came home, worked with the Ministry of Local Government, and during our 2nd term of office, he was posted to be Consul General, New York.
Oh, I see. So what's his name?
Dr. Obin Busiah.
Dr. Obin Busiah. Dr. Obin Busiah is your son?
It's my first son.
Oh, wow. Dr. Obin Busiah has been on this program, I think, 2 times already.
Yes, he's my first son.
And he has a keen interest in football as well.
Football, yeah.
You know, and he actually has written a book on Ghanaian football.
Yes, yes.
For which he's giving me an autographed copy.
Yes.
But I hearing for the first time that Dr. Obin Busiah is your son, because he was in New York, he was in the diplomatic circles for Ghana for some time.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I see.
It's my first son.
It's your first son. Interesting. It's a small world. And the second one is?
He is Kwesi Busiah. He is in Atlanta. He works for American Government Research, Medical Research Institute. Yeah.
I see. Great. You've done a good job of it.
By the grace of God.
Yeah, right.
It's not through my deeds or my might. It's just by His grace.
That's good. That's great to know. You start staying with politics. So what under President Kufuor's tenure?
Yeah.
You had the opportunity to serve your country.
Yes.
But I'm told that before you actually went that way, that's not what you were aiming for.
No, what happened was immediately we won the election in 2000, getting to 2001. Our former General Secretary and then Chairman of the party, Mr. Odoisa, the Rocha.
BJ Darocha.
BJ Darocha.
The late.
The late BJ Darocha.
That's right.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. Right. Called me and said, I saw the work you did for this party. That helped us to win power. So I would want to help you to crown your political career by becoming a chairman of this party.
Okay.
It was some sort of appreciation. He saw the work I did really, you know. So he wanted to appreciate me. And I did agree. Then just about 12 days after, that time President Kufuor was at the State House.
Okay.
They were renovating the castle, so he was staying at State House.
Okay.
Yeah, that was where his office was.
All right.
I got a telephone call from his secretary and said the president wanted to see me. So I went, obviously. I mean, I'll rush and go there.
Of course.
And then he said, you know, when we won the power, the district assemblies were not in place.
Okay.
And they have to elect one member from each region to represent on the Council of State.
Okay.
The composition of Council of State is 10 elected members from each region and 12 appointed by the president, and then I think the 3 are ex-officio members.
Okay.
Former Chief Justice, former CDS, and former IGP, 4, and then President of National House of Chiefs.
Right.
They are ex-officio members.
Right.
And he said he was going to name the people that will represent him on the council. That was, we've gone well into April.
Okay. Okay.
And he has decided to ask me to be one of the members of the Council of State. I was a bit confused because I've given the Rocha my word. So I asked His Excellency the permission to go and reflect over it.
Okay.
I went home, I prayed over it for 2 days. I was still confused. Honestly, I was. Because I love politics.
Right.
And I know I wouldn't be able to practice it as I would have loved to. And all the same, I also felt it was an honor being bestowed on me, and this was, I was in a state of confusion. So one afternoon, Saturday, I had another call that the president would like to see me, because I think the list was going to come out on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
And they were having, he was having his first minister's seminar at Green Hill.
Okay.
So I had an appointment to see him about 3 o'clock. And I went. They've just come out for Stibri. And he said, oh, they all call me Auntie Amba. Auntie Amba, you are around? And I said, yes. So he held they have reserved a small room for him where he was going to have his tea.
Okay.
So he asked me, I went, and he said, my list is coming out on Tuesday. I told you since last Thursday, and I still haven't got an answer. Are you going to... he said, I know you love your politics, but I would also wish to have you on the council. I sat down for a few seconds and I said, Your Excellency, thank you for the honor done me. Whom am I to say no to the President of the Republic of Ghana? So if you feel I could serve you better in that capacity, I will. Thank you very much.
Right.
And tears started dropping from my... It was mixed feelings.
All right.
It was tears of joy and also tears of leaving my baby, my baby New Patriotic Party behind.
Right. Okay, to go and do things at a national level.
But I've served my party for 6 years.
Okay.
So if I have to promote, to be promoted to the next level, perhaps it was going to be challenging. But life without challenges is not worth living, you know.
Recently has been suggested by some constitutional lawyers and commentators generally on our politics that the Council of State perhaps should be scrapped.
You see, because we don't operate to the outside world, they don't know what goes on there. But if they do know what goes on there, they wouldn't have recommended that prescription at all. The amount of petitions we get, but we work on the quiet, and also even the valuable advice that sometimes we give to president when things are getting out of hand, the sort of advice we give to the president. But we are not supposed to come to the world, to outside, so they don't see all what they say, Council of State, Council of State. We wrote 2 books whilst we were in the office, and the sort of work we did, and even that was just a skeleton part, because most of our informations are classified information.
That's right.
And you can't put them out there. Yeah. So, but I would never recommend. In fact, I would rather think that they should raise it to second chamber or something. Yeah, but not merely Council of State. Because if you operate it well, and if you get responsible people as we did, honestly, it's a very, very useful organization or institution that I would never dream of they should rather improve on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think that we should have maybe a 2-chamber parliament?
I think so.
And then the Council of State will be expanded into a 2nd chamber.
Exactly.
Where we can get people to come in there.
Exactly.
Like some sort of a House of Lords or something.
Exactly. Exactly. That should be if we are operating the way we should. I was there for 8 years and I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And I can also say that I don't know, but if my memory serves me right, I'm one of the few people, not only woman, who served for 2 terms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I see. Congrats on that.
Thank you very much.
We have to take a first commercial break at this stage. Madam Busiah, sister to Professor K.A. Busiah, who was Prime Minister of Ghana from 1969 to 72, is our guest tonight. Madam Busiah is our guest tonight on Personality Profile Fridays, telling her about herself. We'll have an opportunity to hear her views on some contemporary political issues as well. I'm sure she would love to comment on a thing or two. Of course, the messages have started coming in. Keep sending them in. 1760 by text. Facebook.com/MultiTV. PM Express is the address on Facebook for which you can send us. Just before we leave the Council of State issue behind us, do you also think that it should continue to operate on the quiet as it does, or you think it should come a bit into the limelight, even if we are not able to convert it into a 2nd chamber?
We are not really restricted to be on quiet. There are certain issues that you can even invite the press, have interaction with press. We did it once or twice when we were there, but mostly we operate on the quiet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if it were to become a 2nd chamber, again, its composition will be affected in terms of the shades of opinion. And
yes, I think they should broaden the base,
because it tends to be for a political party in power at whatever time.
It shouldn't be so, you know,
because of the number. It's 26 members, I think.
25.
25 members.
Those who are elected, you know, there could be any. We had Liman's brother, when we were there, who was a CPP, and even President Kufuor when he was making the appointments.
Yes.
Despite the fact that Mrs. Emma Mitchell was a former member of NDC minister,
right.
he appointed him.
I remember that.
And then the first Hajia also was a member of, I think, CPP in Liman's regime. She was even an ambassador to Holland. Kufuor appointed her. I think it's just getting the brains together to storm. You don't have to wear political color before you are appointed. I think he looks at what you can contribute, and I think that should be the case, because all the device of political device are there. People who have, you know, gifted.
That's right.
So if you have opportunity of bringing them together to brainstorm and help this nation go forward, I don't think we should put political colors on them at all. And President Kufuor demonstrated beautifully.
Great. They say, some people, that really our country is so divided along political party lines these days, NDC and NPP, and really the other political parties. But based on the last election and based on what we know, of course the PPPs, etc., will have to put up a good showing, and then we'll talk about that. But basically, that it seems so divided. It seems as if there's so much enmity. The language is a bit rough these days. It raises so much tension and all that. You have seen politics in Ghana for a very, very long time. Where are we now, and are we getting it wrong? We are getting it wrong. You see, I have always said that my political opponent is not my enemy. He believes in one thing, and I believe in the other. Right. The ultimate is Ghana. So I don't believe in political animosity. I don't. Okay. It's exchange of ideas, trading of ideas, and then who wins? You know, helps the. What are we fighting over? The ultimate is Ghana. And I say, when you take your right hand, you'll get there. And the other person say, when you get your take left hand, you get there. They are social democrats. We are liberal democrats. It shouldn't go beyond this. But of late, I don't know what's got into us. And instead of discussing issues, we trade in insults. Yeah. And my heart pains me, you know, my heart bleeds when I hear these things. And you see young men, people who could be their fathers, they sit on the television, insult them, and say all sorts of, you know, unsavory things about them. Some of them are unprintable, and I don't think we should encourage it. And I'm taking this opportunity to ask the
Christian Council, Catholic Conference, Muslim Association, all the NGOs, and that we should all come out and condemn it into two. I mean, and make sure that, you know, we get antidote to this ugly head political that has raised its ugly head into our politics. Right. It's just not right.
Very well said.
It's just not right,
and it seems that the two leading parties are the most to blame, people think.
I think so, but we've got to start from somewhere.
Right.
We've got to start from somewhere. All these are, you know, politics is about 54 years in Ghana now.
Right.
Other countries have gone through it. I would say it's a phase, but we should make it as a policy. We should be determined to make sure that these things don't continue. It doesn't augur well for anybody.
Doesn't augur well for anybody.
It doesn't augur well for anybody.
Very well put, very well said, and it's important that we do that. Yeah. Let's talk about something that happened recently. I mean, Honorable Kennedy Japan, and that's the last bit of these things I'm bringing up. What did you make of what happened?
Since the case is in the court, if only you help me, I wouldn't want to comment on it at all.
Absolutely. Yes. The merits of it, as to whether he's guilty or not, are those things, are the court bits. But I'll let you be if you don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to comment on it at all.
I'll let you be, because tonight is your night.
Yes. Thank you.
Tonight is your night.
Thank you for letting me off the hook.
Yes, and Fridays are soft days. Fridays are soft days, and we will deal with it and all that. I have some messages coming in right now. Let me take those messages. And there are some points, you have some pictures. And then as long as we are able to monitor those pictures, we can speak to those pictures, and then we'll start rolling them. Ohene Nana Obonti Crow says, Ama Busiah is a great woman. Though ideologically we are opposed, I really appreciate her astuteness in politics. I will, however, plead with her to use her wise counsel to shape the communication skills of the MPP, whilst we do the same within the NDC. I salute the great woman. Ohene Nana Obonti Crow sent that message. We have a few more on right here with us. Okay, as soon as we're able to roll it, we will be dealing with them, and then we can talk about them. Sometimes you have a problem with our messages, scrolling and being rather slow. Okay, all right. So we'll come back to the messages and deal with them as soon as you are able to do so. But again, currently, I'm sure you still consider yourself as a politician.
Oh, yes.
What are you engaged in right now? What do you do within the party?
Thank you for this question. I'm a member of Council of Elders, the party.
Okay.
And I'm also unofficially mother of the party.
Right.
I have, if I need 25 hours to work for my party, I will.
Okay.
They have a lot of respect for me. I'm not boasting at all. I'm a reconciler. When something goes wrong, they come to me, and I try as much as possible to put things right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I can tell that if I get 10 telephone calls a day, 7 of them are on politics.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
My doors are always open. You see, as a mother, you have to have time to listen to your children. Those who are going crooked, you straighten them. Those who need your little counsel, you give to them.
Okay.
Those who need your little help, if I can, you give to them.
All right.
And those who need your little comfort, patting them on the back, just say, oh, you did well. One of our boys was on one of the airwaves this morning, and his contribution was so beautiful. I just sent him a text message. Keep it up.
Okay.
You know, and these little things, you know, it makes them feel that at least, you know, the elders are appreciating them, because we will soon be passing away. They are going to take over from us.
Okay.
So we have to urge them on.
Great.
And that's precisely what I try to do.
You've kept up with the times, because I don't know many 70 plus mothers of ours who can send a text message.
Well, if you are 70 and you want to be abreast with the time, then try to be abreast with the time.
Wow, that's great. And so I'm really happy to note that, you know, as you say, you kept up to the times, the technological flow of the time.
Yeah, my grandson is in Washington, and the first time I sent him text, he said he went and showed it to his girlfriend. Oh, my grandmother can can send me text messages, you know.
Absolutely, because trust me, some people even in their 40s and 50s have no clue. They use a phone only for voice purposes. Oboloya kwadaso insiom. Antiama, you look so beautiful. That is all he has to say to
Thank you very much.
Interesting. All right, interesting message coming from there. And of course, we're here for more of them from Ochiadi Tema. It says, I want to know why all her sons are also called Busiah.
Well, very good question.
Extremely good question.
The first son was the first elder male in the family. And my brother didn't want the name Busiah to leave the family. Okay. So when I delivered, he went and begged for the father whether he could answer his name.
All right.
And the father did agree.
Yeah.
And the second one just joined the we are proud of that name.
Okay.
I remember during a Champon time, I was being arrested left and right. Would you believe a Champon detained me for 3 months?
Really?
Oh yes, after the 1972 coup. And the only offense I've committed was that I happened to be Busiah's sister.
That was the only offense?
Yes. And then during the early days of the revolution, I didn't have it easy at all. Yeah.
The Rawlings Revolution?
Yes.
80, you were
yes.
talking about
One
80,
day
right?
I was working, I was working at the University of Ghana.
Okay.
And when they invaded the university, it was quite rough for me.
I see.
And the CDRs arrested me, invaded my house. I was,
Were you living on campus at that time?
Yes.
Okay.
They held my maid right at a gunpoint. I was kidnapped on my way back from Tema. All sorts of things to better put them behind me.
Who kidnapped you?
The CDRs.
I see.
Yeah.
Were you
impounded my car. No.
You were not maltreated?
No, I wasn't.
But they impounded your vehicle?
My vehicle. Okay. I was using Peugeot 504.
Okay.
Later on, it was retrieved for me.
At that time, it was a trendy car to have. But 3 months is a long time for a Champon to detain you.
Yeah.
I mean, 13 January 1972, I believe.
Yeah, but I was picked up in July.
In July. And for 3 months, where were you kept?
Oh. First of all, they put me in a shanty house for some time.
Where is that?
Kroboduse's house. They used to call it a shanty house. For interrogation.
Okay.
And then I ended up with James Ford. And
Jamestown?
Yeah. And the last 2 weeks was in Sawam.
Last 2 weeks was in Sawam?
Yes.
And at the end of the day, what was it? There were no charges leveled against you, nothing? You were not taken to court, you were never tried?
Absolutely nothing. There was this Ofusuama school, and they were trying to connect me with it. And perhaps when they did their full investigations and found out that despite the fact that I read the name Busiah, and they felt Ofusuama was working for Busiah, it had nothing to do with me. Yeah, but so, I had to suffer for 3 months.
You suffered for 3 months. That's terrible. I hope you didn't suffer for long after the revolution of 18.
No, after no. That one, it was sort of intimidation, and the boys will just come and insult you, and when you are driving, they are chasing you around the town. After my car had been impounded, and they give the cars to me, finally the keys, pop up with Kojo Chikata, who sent my keys to me. I mean, it's a long story that I'll put it behind me. I wouldn't want to go into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not?
But it hasn't.
Sometimes it helps to tell the story.
It hasn't been easy. It wasn't easy.
I see.
And I think that has fortified me in politics. Yeah. I've suffered almost everything. I've suffered imprisonment, I've suffered kidnapping, they burgled my house, they held my maidservant at a gunpoint, took everything that I had, and I still survive. So,
is there a particular reason you don't want to tell that story?
Well, I think sometimes we should let the bygones be bygones, yeah, because it brings memories, bitter memories, and so long as my God has sustained me and I've gone through it, I don't want to go back into it. No.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. We have some pictures of you coming up, and I realize you're not wearing glasses. I hope you can see the pictures. But of course, our viewers definitely can see them. And okay, you received the national award.
Yes.
From President Kufuor.
President Kufuor. Order of Volta.
Order of the Volta.
In politics.
In politics. Okay, and That's you receiving your award right there.
Yeah.
And he was, oh wow, this is a blast from the past. Young days.
You see, the stages in life.
Yes, stages in life, stages in life. That's a beautiful picture you have there. Very interesting. Wow. I don't know if you remember when you took that picture though.
Which one of them?
The one on the screen now.
I was, during my student days in Britain. I think I was about 25 then.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
25 years in Britain. I see. Interesting. And all right. So, I'd like to see the pictures rolling. And I don't know with this. All right. I think there's a little problem with the angling from where we are sitting with regard the pictures, and it's a bit difficult to see. So we can take the pictures again at some point.
Well, this was one of the. I took it. I think. The State House, the early days of President Kufuor, we had a function at State House, and I think I took it there.
Okay, so this was early 2000s.
Yeah.
Thereabout.
Yeah.
Okay, and then okay, so this is you and President Kufuor.
That was my 70th birthday at the conference center.
Oh, okay, okay, I see. All right, interesting occasion. And some other pictures still coming after this, I believe. Okay, you and the former First Lady. Yeah,
there's the same. I was sitting between the two of them, so the same occasion.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Interesting. What do you have there? But of course, we're also interested. I'm sure many would like to know a bit about your brother. We'll have to speak about your brother. It's not possible to do an interview like this and not talk about your brother. So we will do that. But someone is asking, Nia, I want to know if Auntie Ama has some of her siblings alive and where they are. Oh, they're 13. Okay, she's here. The other two.
5 died.
5 died.
During infant mortality. So
okay.
8 survived.
Okay.
Yes, and then 1978 we lost 2. One died in April and Busiah died in August the same year. I lost 2 brothers in 1978.
Oh, wow.
Well, to cut the long story short, we are now, out of the 10 boys, I have just 1 brother who has survived, and he's 87.
87?
Yeah.
I see. And out of the 3 girls?
We are all alive.
You're all alive. Wow.
And I happen to be the baby of the
baby of the squad.
So that's a very big baby.
So that's extremely big baby. 70 plus baby is not a small baby.
Exactly.
Uncle Fee says, Auntie Ama, I've come to like you. Please continue being cool. And then, okay, we've read this one from Tema already. Okay, we've also read this one from Emmanuel in Tema. Now we've read your message. Some of the messages keep coming back to us now. Okay, all right. This one says, you look so beautiful. We've read that as well. Okay, all right. So as long as once we have some new ones, we will deal with it. Okay, this one is from Efa. It says, Auntie Ama, people of Wenchi have missed you. That's all Efa says.
I think he's right. I haven't been there for some time.
Oh, I see. They probably want to see you back in Wenchi. This one says, Mommy, is it true that you are from Wenchi? That's from Abalore Emmanuel in Brekum.
I'm from Wenchi. Actually, when you hear the name Busiah, you don't have to
ask. All right, so that's your answer right there. She is from Wenchi for sure. Okay, the messages are rolling and we'll get some more coming through. But really, Professor Busiah was given so many accolades in his lifetime, and like an academic par excellence, brilliant student. He scored some firsts in his life. First student to get some qualifications from some parts of the world in Oxford in a master's degree. Did a PPE, politics, philosophy, economics, which was the most fashionable course to do at that time in England for any students, which he did. And then he went to Infansipim. Infansipim is always proud to mention that fact, and they always cite him as one of their leading lights. But I know he also went to another school apart from Infansipim.
Achimota.
Did he go to Achimota?
Yeah. And he taught there. I think he did his sixth form or something like that at Achimota, and he taught there. He was a teacher.
Because I know he was a teacher.
He was a teaching assistant.
I see. In Achimota and all that. And then all the things. Did you know that he wanted to lead Ghana when he was growing up?
I think originally he was more interested in his academic life. But circumstances at that time forced him quotes into politics.
What are those circumstances? What is it that gave him that?
When he was not part of the Big Six.
No.
And when UGCC was formed, he was not part of it as such.
Yep.
But when Ghana politics was becoming I don't know whether I should use nasty as a good adjective.
Okay.
And Nkrumah came onto the scene. You know, if what I heard was true, it was UGCC who invited Nkrumah to come to Ghana.
That's what the history says.
Yeah, the history says. And then he formed his own party,
That's
CPP.
Right. 2 years later.
Exactly. And Ghana was becoming hot. That time, Gold Coast.
Yes.
And it became necessary that those who were elite should get involved because they felt the direction that Nkrumah was taking them that time wasn't right.
Okay.
I think the argument of self-government now
or the shortest possible time. That's right.
And he was persuaded that they will need his brain to come and help to straighten things and fight in unity to get independence for our country.
Okay.
And that's why he got...
So that's why he got involved.
In politics.
And he got involved in politics and was participating and all.
Yeah.
But really, do you think that Nkrumah's overthrow was good for Ghana?
I wouldn't say it's yes and no. Nkrumah did very well. Nobody can deny him that.
Right.
But you see, power corrupts, and sometimes corrupts absolutely.
Right.
When it gets into your head, at times you do things, and before you sit back and realize, and the harm had already been done.
Okay.
When PDA and things that was introduced into our politics, it became a bit difficult for people to understand him. Okay. And if a doyen like J.B. Dankwa, who helped Nkrumah to come to Ghana, could be detained and die in prison, I mean, it was a bit too much for the other side to swallow it, you know. And I've been to Nsawam and we went there with candle procession to look at the room that Dankwa died in, chained. And if you read the history of Dankwa, and if this is the way he has to die, then they thought that they should fight for their freedom. They should fight for this country. They should do a solid political foundation for this country. And that's brought them together, you know.
You brought them together. So the answer you're saying is yes and no?
Yes and no, yeah. Yes, because he did very well. But as I said, the tail end, I wouldn't say it was good for this nation.
So at the time that it happened, perhaps it was good for Ghana?
I think so. I think so. We needed a change.
Madam Busiah is in the studio with us, a former Council of State member, and she's a sister, junior sister it is, to Dr. or Professor K. Busiah, who was Prime Minister of Ghana from 1969 to 1972. I think two messages have come in right now. This one says, "Hi Clegg, God bless you for bringing in such a distinguished personality. I say kudos and bravo," and that goes straight and direct to Danswe Uko, my producer. I can take her crown. Musa from Bunkulugu says, "Auntie Amma, you are too superb. I can't wait to see you contribute to Nanado's presidency. May God grant you life and strength."
Thank you.
All right, so back to the table and to look at Dr. Busiah. So once he was, I don't know if it's true, but again, the history I've read was that he was not in Ghana when he was overthrown. But he was not.
He had gone for medical treatment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So wow, did he come back to Ghana at any point?
He came back with his dead body.
Oh, from 72 to 78?
No, he was overthrown in
72 to 78 for that 6 years.
21st August. And that was his second exile.
That was his second exile. Yes, because the first one
was when he came back after 1966 coup.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and then went and formed the government 1969 to 72. And he was going for medical checkup when the coup took place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he
didn't come back. We came with his dead body.
Ooh. That must have been pathetic.
He served his country to the end. That's the most important thing. Somebody has to do it. You know, one thing that he said that has always motivated me, when we were in exile in Holland, people will ring him and said, "Kofi, you are such a brilliant young scholar. And that time, I think University of Ghana was going to have his last expatriate vice chancellor.
Okay.
And they said, you are the first African professor. You could easily have been vice chancellor. Why are you staying in exile with your little family and going up and down, struggling? And he was such a good listener, beautiful listener. He said, somebody has to do it. And if I'm that somebody, I've accepted the challenge. And that has motivated me. When I was detained, when I was being harassed, everything, I'll just say, brother said, somebody has to do it. So if it's my turn now that I have to do it, I have gladly accepted the challenge.
Great.
And it has kept me going all these years.
Does it make you cry, feel sad? When
I'm
you
very
remember him?
emotional when I talk about my brother. He has made me what I am. Apart from my God who created me, I think I owe everything to him. I'm very emotional about him. Very, very emotional. Yeah.
Kofi Abrefa Busiah,
Yeah.
as you say, first professor, African professor that is, and distinguished scholar by all accounts, and DPhil in social anthropology in 47. Yeah, philosophy, as we said, PPE Oxford. He also did University of London by correspondence, the beginning for his first degree and all that.
I think it was a gift to our family, and in general, perhaps a gift to this country and maybe to Africa in those days. Yes, I just look at it that I'm glad that God made it possible for me to be associated with such a great man.
Great. But you was also coming for some criticism by aliens, compliance, other issues were mentioned, sending the Nigerians out of Ghana, devaluing the Ghanaian currency by 44% or so at the time that he did, leading to public outcry. I don't know how you take those criticisms.
Well, you know, some of them I take them in good faith, and some of them they just didn't get him fully. When he introduced a aliens compliance order, he also set up loans, small loans, you know, and many, if you go to, is it Aboblush or something, most of the people who have made it was because of the aliens compliance order. I always put up this question. If you have children at home, and they are very hungry, and they don't have anything to eat, will you go out and feed other people's children? They say love your neighbor as yourself, but never more than thyself. You reserve some of the economic sector for the indigenous, so that Ghanaians will be in good employment. And tell me in which part of the world you go and stay there without any papers and you'll be allowed to stay in. He didn't say that all aliens should go. He said he gave some time for aliens to straighten their records, you know. And when the date expired, those who didn't have papers will have to go. And I mean, I always say this, that I think both Nkrumah and Busiah lived 200 years ahead of their time. After some time, Nigerians to expel the Ghanaians. Why did they do that?
But some said they did it in reaction to what Busiah did.
No, that time they have also realized that foreigners were taking over. So they should go for them to be able to take look after the indigenous. And also, I think it was the implementation that was well executed. The law itself wasn't a bad law at all. As I've already explained, you can't go and live in any country without documents. It's not possible. But I think it was the implementation that wasn't well executed. I think we have to accept that.
All right.
Yes.
Again, if you in a political science class in Legon, a lot of lecturers will tell you that perhaps he ranks very high in terms of liberal democratic views and all of that. But he was also criticized again for apparently saying that no court could compel him to do something in the Salah case. You remember that as well?
I think he was taken out of context.
Okay.
If I have a maid servant and I said, I'm not prepared to stay with this, we signed a contract for 2 years. And I don't like the maid servant's behavior. And I said, I'm prepared to pay her off. You can't compel me to stay with somebody that I'm not comfortable with. And I think my brother was taken out of context. Whenever I hear people say, it really pains me that he's not there to explain himself. But he said, yes, I'm guilty, but I can't work with Salah. I can compensate him. And he go, and no court can force me to work with the person I'm not prepared to work with. In my simplistic mind, this is how I will explain it, and I understand it. And I think that was the case. He was very well taken out of context. Yeah.
So a lot of the time, those things do happen when people don't understand you, and it leads to divisions, and it's handed down as a story, and people take it. But really, it has also been said that Busiah opposed the construction of Accra to Motorway. I don't know how true that is, because he said at the time when Nkrumah was putting up all those things that have turned out to be prophetic projects, so to speak, that he was opposed to them.
You know, when people don't like you, they say, perhaps those who don't really like his ideology will say all sorts of things against Busiah. Busiah wasn't an angel, that nobody is. But I think he also did his best for this country and contributed his best. So many a times people misunderstood him. That's why I said that perhaps the man lived 200 years ahead of his time. What he understood that time, the foresight he had, some of us who were short-sighted, he didn't see it that way. But after some time, maybe he'll be justified in some of it. And those who criticized him in their sober reflection will say that maybe it was a wrong criticism.
And I'm sure because of him, you wear the name Busiah as a badge on your sleeve.
Honestly, if I can add another one, I'll call myself Amma Busiah. I'm so proud of that name. I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of that name.
And your party now says its tradition is Dankwa Busiah.
Yeah. Dombo tradition.
Dombo, of course. Dombo is also added from the north. But Busiah's name is there.
Yes.
And what does that make? What does that mean to you?
It means so much to me. How many people in this world have a tradition that is named after a party? I'm so proud. It's one of the things that makes me proud. You know.
Interesting. Auntie Amma, thank you for being there for our great party NPP. You've really made my day. This is from Augustine in Konongo. I like your program so much. Please don't ever stop this program. That's from Abalore Emmanuel, Jinijini Senior High School in Brekum. I see today.
Maybe Jinjini.
It's Jinjini. Okay, all right. That's how it's pronounced.
Yeah, Jinjini.
I like and love your life. May God bless you. That's from Obem Bediako Kwabna in Suta, in is it Techiman, in Bronga Hafu. Okay, so. Okay, I've read this one. It says, thank you for being there. That's from Konongo. I see. So it's pronounced Jinjini.
Jinjini, yeah.
All right. We learn something new every day.
That's where Ifadate comes from.
Oh, Nkrabia.
Nkrabia.
He's been on this show as well. This one says, please, why was JB Dankwa imprisoned, Auntie Amma? Oh, wow. It's 10 o'clock. And
maybe Auntie Amma will answer next time when she's invited to the studio.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe next time she's invited to the studio, she will do that. Auntie Amma, I think you've spoken well. You're a real mother. That's from Harris in Kumasi. You are getting some really nice messages from viewers tonight. They like you. They're impressed by you. Our time is up, Auntie Amma. We really have to go, unfortunately. But I think we've been able to cover some blades of grass, at least, in this interview. But I'll still give you a last word. Last word. I normally don't do last word on one-on-one because the questions are done. But I'll give you a last word because of your age and all of that, because of what you've seen in Ghana, because it's an election year, because even though you belong to a political party, you've spoken with a tone that seems to set peace for all of us. So the last word is to Ghanaians, and to say, what do you have to say to us in this year? How do we maintain the peace?
I'm asking all political parties and all Ghanaians that we should keep her cool. We have only one country. And whatever we do, we are going to live together.
Right.
So we should try that this election is done in peace. We have to leave a legacy for our children, and that legacy should be peace, but not war.
All right.
May God give us all even hearts to think about this country and lead this country in one piece, but not in pieces.